Good morning from Paris. The day following the first two quarterfinals at the Rugby World Cup. Two very different quarterfinals, but two really intriguing matches. Those of you that have watched my video already following the Ireland-New Zealand game, as I'm in Paris, those are the games I'm attending. So I've already covered off that unbelievable match, probably the best match that I've ever seen live. So in this video, I wanted to talk about Wales against Argentina. I watched the game from the press room at the Stade de France. I just haven't had an opportunity to do a video on it. So I thought now that a bit of time has passed, I can be a little bit more considered rather than just giving my immediate reaction. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about in the video. So comment down below, what did you make of the game? What did you make of these two teams, both from an Argentinian perspective and from a Welsh perspective as well, because I think they're both quite interesting angles. And also make sure you like the video and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We are over 10,000, which is just awesome. I really do genuinely appreciate it. So thank you to all of you that have hit subscribe already. And if you haven't, then it makes a massive difference. So if you feel like doing it, then I really appreciate it. But let's get on to the game then. First of all, congratulations to Argentina, because the better side won. And you look at Argentina in the group stages of this World Cup, and they were pretty poor, weren't they? But they had the capability to win. You always knew that they had the capability if they turned up, and they showed the quality in their side. And it was what plenty of us suspected might happen, really, in that Argentina have been so poor that Wales were going in as these heavy favourites, and you can't write off Argentina like that, because we've seen them do it before. We've seen them win in New Zealand. We saw them win at Twickenham. We saw them beat Australia in the Rugby Championship. So even though their performances had been below the level that many would have expected of them and many people would have wanted them to achieve, you just couldn't write them off for this game. And ultimately they showed up, and they were the more accurate team. They were better at building pressure, particularly in the second half, and that's absolutely crucial for a knockout game at a World Cup. And I'll get on to Wales in just a second, but you feel like after that first half where, they went 10-0 up, they had 3 line-outs in the opposition red zone in that half where they overthrew them or they weren't able to win them. They weren't able to build enough pressure after actually giving themselves a platform to be able to do that. And Argentina chipped away at the score. They took the threes, they got back into the game, and I think they were just a lot better at building pressure on Wales. And it is a huge win for Argentina. Let's not forget, after COVID, it was a huge amount of time before they next had a home game. They were one of those nations, not as much as some nations. I know the Pacific Islands and places like that have been hugely affected by it. But even so, they were still affected by COVID. And you could see what it means to them. You look at those celebrations from the Argentinian fans, who have been awesome at this World Cup. They always are. Any sporting event I've ever been at involving Argentina, their fans are brilliant. But you look at Emiliano Buffelli, top off, twirling it around his head, celebrating pitch side. The scenes that came through from the dressing room, you saw how much it meant to them. And it wasn't particularly a team, was it, who you think, say, you know, how we'll hear from so many teams, oh, big win today, but it's next game up, we've got to be better next week. You kind of feel like for Argentina that they know this is as far as they've ever got in a World Cup. It's a bit of a free hit from this point on. So congratulations to them. And congratulations to Michael Cheika. I suppose the question now for Argentina is, can they back it up? Now, whoever they play, it's the All Blacks, isn't it? Playing the All Blacks, they will be huge underdogs for that game, particularly the way in which the All Blacks played against Ireland in Paris. They were sensational. But the big thing for Argentina over the years, I think, has been they get these one-off wins. Can they then back it up in their performance? We shall wait and see. They will be underdogs, but as I've said already, awesome win for them. Let's get on to Wales. How big a missed opportunity was this for Wales? Welsh fans, you can have a say down below. Because they had opportunities in the game, as I've said already. 10-0 up, 3 line-outs in the red zone, in the opposition 22, and they all go awry. And there's probably 2 ways to look at this, really, I think. On the one hand, Wales had come through what wasn't a pool of death, but equally they had to play the Wallabies, they had to play Fiji, Portugal were no mugs, Georgia we know are often an improving side. So it wasn't a ridiculously easy pool, but they came through 4 wins from 4. They looked to be building something. There was a real continuity in their squad. We all, by this point, pretty much knew who the starting team was. And it wasn't so long ago, I remember doing videos where I was looking at it and saying, I just don't know what Wales' starting team is. I don't know what the best combinations are. I think in a short space of time, Warren Gatland and his coaching staff have done a great job of getting them to this point. So you felt like they were building, and then to just not really show up, other than that opening kind of 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, then it didn't really click thereafter. And I think that's why I asked if it was a missed opportunity, a great chance to get to a World Cup semi-final, and they didn't have their best display. And maybe it is a reminder of where this Welsh team is in terms of their progression, in that they are building, they are having to rebuild from a relatively low ebb. And I suppose that's probably what I would focus on from a Welsh perspective, is that World Cup quarter-finalists, and we're talking about it as if they should have got to a World Cup semi-final, or it's a great opportunity that they missed. It wasn't that long ago that they were in a Six Nations campaign where they only won one match. They had the threat of strikes from the players. The domestic game in the country is in a mess and is still in a bit of a mess, but let's hope it starts to improve. So, as I say, in a short space of time, that international programme has changed round to get themselves to a quarter-final. I know we can talk about the draw, and they were fortunate with the draw, but you deal with that. You play with the hand that you are dealt, and I think the level of disappointment from a Welsh perspective, given where they were, is also a real reflection of where they have come. Just finally as well, Dan Biggar retiring. It's a weekend of retirements, isn't it? It's kind of legendary fly halves that will no longer play for their countries in Johnny Sexton and Dan Biggar. George North as well, I presume we will never see him at a World Cup again. Some huge players from that Welsh team, from that golden generation, will no doubt be stepping away. And just on Dan Biggar, I love Dan Biggar. He's probably my favourite fly half of that kind of generation of fly halves. He's all heart. He's a big game player, I think. I still look back on that performance against England at the 2015 World Cup in England at Twickenham, and Dan Biggar's performance at fly half, his kicking and it was just an elite performance, an elite mentality, and a good bloke as well. So yeah, congratulations to him on a brilliant international career. The one final thing in this game I wanted to touch upon is the officiating, and it was a weird game anyway, wasn't it? Because we had Jaco Piper go off early with an injury. Carl Dixon comes in and referees the game. And we had this incident in the second half with the Argentinian, the second row, wasn't it? Comes in to clear out, catches Nick Tompkins, and it's no card. And my thoughts on it are, if that is the decision, if we are now playing a game where we can find mitigation because it was a sudden drop in height, the Argentinian came in low, all that sort of stuff, then I don't have a problem with it. But it comes back to the thing of consistency. And if you compare that to the Tom Curry red card at the start of the tournament, you're looking at those incidents and just wondering how on earth is one a red card and one no card at all. And I actually wonder whether the officials and whether those organising this tournament really regret that Tom Curry decision, because it is becoming the barometer of which all other decisions are measured against. And that's an issue, because I think we can all agree the Tom Curry one was pretty soft, was incredibly harsh, there's not much more he can do. And then you had this incident with one of the Argentinian players driving in. To me, it looked like it was probably shoulder to head, but maybe it was arm. That's some of the mitigation that they found. Either way, you look at that and you think, hang on a minute, these things don't tally up. Surely that has to be a card. And yeah, for me, it comes back to the consistency in the decision making for us to be able to understand it. We were all looking around in the press tribune yesterday at the Stade de France thinking, just how, like none of this makes sense, and that is an issue for the game, and it's a shame that we're having to talk about it. But that's my general thoughts on it. As I say, congratulations to Argentina. Missed opportunity for Wales, you can let me know, have your say in the comments. Make sure you like the video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.